Well, it's Taiwan evening time. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where you are in the world. But today it's my honor to share this wonderful topic, better cities, better lives. I think this is all the missions that we have to carry on for the rest of our lives. Today it's my honor to share what we went through about Taichung City, how we deal with the transformation of our city. So basically, better cities, better lives. Today, I'm going to focus on a few projects, but more important of our city green policy. So this is the outline what I'm going to talk about. I think I will start with why important of ESG and SDGs, because before we talk about everything, net zero 2050 net zero is the mission and issues that it's not just popular, but it's the task for everyone now. So this is the first part I'd like to share about what happened in Taichung and how we aim towards the ESG and the SDGs. And the second page, the second part, third part, and fourth part, I will start to share about the environment of Taichung and how we review the buildings in the city. And most important is the last part. I'd like to share about this green policy we have in Taichung City. All right, that will be the first part, visions of ESG and SDGs of Taichung City. And why ESG? I think people probably will ask, what is ESG? ESG represents environmental, social, and the governance. And used to, it is quite popular now in Taiwan to evaluate companies and investments for those people in the company and about their impact and their sustainability measures practice of the company. The reason why we particularly focus on ESG, because when I share this with Lily and other friends, the previous slides, that people ask me, what is ESG? And the particular part is in Taiwan, actually, we are the country that had lots of experts and exports to the world. Taichung City has very strong 6 major industries that are world-class competitive. And because of these companies, many, for example, TSMC, one big company under that actually has more than hundreds of franchise company linked together with TSMC. So for these companies, actually, they are facing the issues of 2015 net zero carbon issue. And the same time, because these exports products going to the different part of the world, they also have to facing the tax issues. So for our company, many companies in Taiwan, ESG become a very, very essential part to discuss about. And the mission and their challenge and vision, you can see. The first is for cooperate to share their cultures. And the second, of course, it's international sustainability standards that we all have to work with. And the third part is, of course, is the institutional investors. And it's important to enhance and the information and transparent information for the rest part of the world to understand what is the manufacturing behind, whether they are polluted, the planet or polluted the air and everything. And the last, of course, information disclosure. It's promote. The most important idea is about the future business operation. So ESG actually is a very popular issue in Taiwan now. And this model is about ESG in relation with SDGs. We probably all know about SDGs 17 principles and 70 goals. But this interesting concept is we call the wedding cake model. It was proposed by Sweden Rockstorm and the Paven Sakon. I hope I don't know whether I pronounce right or not, from India. Actually, these two gentlemen proposed this very important concept. Like on the upper right-hand side, most people when they're talking about ESG, it's very equal in 3 rings. One ESG, the same ring, the other social, one is environmental, the other social, and the other is governance. They are equal in 3 rings. But these are the only concept that says, try to reinforce the concept, how important the environment. You can see in order and in sequence, environmental is always bigger than the society. Society is bigger than economy, and the top will be governance. This concept actually set a very important goal. Only follow this, not put economic more than society, not more than environment. It has to be sequenced like this in order. And in that case, our environment will be preserved in a better way and have a better dialogue with our nature. Just like Sid just share how important our nature environment is. And we probably all familiar with the SDG 17 goals. We actually the sustainable goals were developed actually in year 2000. In the meantime, it was called the Millennium Development Goals. In the meantime, that's only 8 goals, only for social and developing countries. You can see it's more for like developing country, and they only focus on social issue. And they try to looking forward to achieving the goal by 2015. But by the time to 2015, people understand that, wow, the world is in a dangerous position, that global warming and the climate has become a big issue. So in 2015, United Nations mentioned about another different goals and more focus on environmental sustainability. So this time, the 17 goals, not just for the developing country, but for the world. 17 goals is actually for the world, for all of us to follow. And you can see the relation between SDGs and ESG. And so between these two, each principle, each goal, actually, they have different emphasis about the ESG. And this gives us a very good guideline. I hope that maybe later on we can share more information about this through the slides or video recording. And more important today, because we are sharing about the best practice in FIABCI and towards the architecture. So you can see in SDGs what's the relation about architecture. What can we contribute according to the research that we'll try to look for the research in many different countries. And I like the idea that proposed by German Sustainable Building Council. They mentioned about among 17 goals, there are 15 goals actually that are related to architecture. But more important, these are the 6 very, very top priority, how they have strong connection between SDGs and architecture. And these are SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. So no surprise, we already saw 6 slides presentation sharing a lot of information about these. SDG 17, about 7 sustainable cities and the communities. 12, about responsible consumption and production. I always call this is circular economy, if you look familiar with the same symbol. And SDG 13 will be climate action. 17, of course, will be partnerships for the goal. That's what we are doing here at FIABCI. Through the partnership, we try to make the work better. And not just the SDG from German Council, but also from the World Green Building Council. They actually try to survey among 17 goals. These are the 9 very, very top high relation with architecture. In these 9 very priority goals that actually determine the green buildings, what they are looking for. For example, this is the diagram shows how they relate to architecture. In all different icons, we have different SDGs goals in there. This is about the building, and of course, to the urban area, enlarged to the urban city, we have more and more different SDGs goals involved with all different development. So from scale like architecture, large scale like building to the cities, and these are all related. So no matter of the scale, no matter of any place in the world, they are all related. And back to Taichung, these 4 are the very, very top priority of what our city are volunteer to focus on. The reason for that, the first one is affordable and clean energy in Taichung is really big issue because Taichung City has the largest coal-fired power in the world. We have terrible I would say terrible, yeah, air pollution issues. So portable and clean energy is very important for Taichung City development. And SDG 9 about industry, innovation, and structure. SDG 11 about sustainable cities and communications. 12 is about responsible consumption and production. These are the 4 very top, we call volunteer commitment. These cities I'd like to borrow the priority for. But beyond these 4, actually, the rest of the 13 is still on the list of all different departments. The second part I'd like to start to share is about the urban environment of Taichung. Before I introduce the policy, I think the policy will be so different in reflects to the locality where you are located in different part of the regions. So I think the typology and the nature environment, nature phenomenon is all very important. So I'd like to give a brief introduction about Taichung, the urban environment. The first is that according to the research, Earth temperature has risen about 0.21 temperature, but Taichung is already 0.32. As I mentioned, Taichung City actually has had very strong competitive industry. There are 3 of them actually are among the top of the world. So we have very many. We have many manufacturing companies. So the temperature is actually above the average. And because of that, so how we respect our nature environment, look at Taichung, that the lucky thing is that we have all the rivers actually coming from the west-south part. And all the wind actually in summer, they come from this direction. So that means if in summer or for most of the season, if we have the heat island issue, and in fact, actually the river can bring down the temperature natural way. If we allow them to penetrate to our environment and to the built environment, artificial environment, if we allow them to penetrate or allow them to go through our environment, actually we can reduce the temperature with the nature way. And the third is that according to the traditional, we call the 3 parts compound with 3-part compound traditional buildings, we actually try to create the high-rise building according to that, because the central part, you actually have more place to social engage with people, but at the same time, the wind come through this direction actually give you a better reducing natural way to reduce the temperature. So this is how we actually learning from the nature. And since 1960 to 2020, you can see that the population increased a lot. The city actually from low density all the way to high-rise building. This is the challenge for us, why the green policy is so important. And let's look at the architecture of Taichung City. All the buildings, when they are over certain size, actually every single building, you can see from the picture, all the high-rise building over certain size, they have to be evaluated by the urban committee, and I'm one of the committee member. When we review these buildings, there are some principal guidelines, for example, advertising, street pictures, light feature, pedestrian and landscape, and all the green aspects. These are the things we will review. But just look at these are not good enough to form our city. So when during the reviewing process, before we have the policy, actually during the reviewing process, we all encourage our developers and architects, we should encourage to bring more green to our city, particularly those high-rise buildings. So like Lily's company, Treasure Dragon, actually before the policy, they already did this. What we recommend, suggest them first, encourage, we should have this concept of livable architecture to bring to our city, to bring more green to our city. And second, we suggest them, well, since our high-rise building going up, can we bring more vertical green, double skin of green to our concrete facade? And the third, of course, not just the facade, but also the roof and terrace. Can we do something about that? And encourage, remember, this is the process, we don't have policy yet. And of course, balcony, can we enlarge them so that people can enjoy more to use these balcony? And the last, for example, of course, the building facade, we like the building facade actually have more shading for sun to penetrate. And the last part will be the most important part that I like to share with. I hope I have enough time. The livable architecture policy in Taichung. And as you can see, the reason we really have this policy, when we're using this policy, actually there has to be incentive that using this policy to encourage people, try to bring more green to the built artificial buildings, architecture parts. The main reason is because the temperature is getting higher and the global warming and the heat island effects in our metropolitan city. So this is the main reason why we want to bring more green coming. So not just the architecture itself. Actually, we try to use many policies and many different device or design in different sections, try to make the building looks more green. And the main reason is try to bring green nature back to the city and also connecting people with nature, not just stay in this concrete box, but try to stay more time with nature or cooperate more time with, through social to engage with people. So these these 4 elements are very important policy. I mean, policy is big, but we try to summarize 4 policy that to encourage people to build with livable architecture, and incentive will encourage them and will not calculating their volume. That means that before, like we mentioned about before, we try to convince them to use that, but all the balcony and all the extending all these materials, all these items, we will calculate them together into our total volume. But now these 4 elements, the first one, green, vertical green facade, of course, we recommend. The second will be double layer sun shading. The third will be sun shading horizontal way. The fourth will be multi-level balconies. All these elements, we encourage them no longer calculate them into our total volume. That means all the developers and architects, actually, they design these and they can still maintain the volume they have and without losing anything. Actually, that means they can have more green and without using any total volume. The incentive is actually quite strong here. For example, these are the details these are the balcony. We should have balcony that people can have leisure time here. But the same type of trees to grow, you need to have like double layers instead of just 1 layer. So these are the detail we have. And of course, the double layers, we suggest that instead of just the metal, the wood, actually we suggest to use green instead of the other artificial material. Actually helps to reduce the pollution and to drop the temperature too. And different shading that will helps a lot for sun penetrates through. And these are the large balcony. We really encourage them. Just imagine these balcony before they have to calculate total in volume, but now because of the green policy, they no longer need to calculate, but actually they can have more in front of their facade. So the building actually will look very, very greenery in all different aspects. So it's a very, very dynamic. For example, these are the few examples I'd like to share. This is the first one we call Mood Park. You can see that elevation facing the south actually already have many greenway. We also strong convinced architect they should do the modeling before they start doing design, like which part will have the most sun penetrate. They should have more shading, and also with shading how much they can preserve the energy, this kind of the concept. And you can see this picture that you have several devices. For example, you have this double layer, you have this big balcony, you have more space in front of your units that you can actually have more leisure and the greenery bring to your apartment, your condominium. And these are different angles and views to look at. Just imagine Taiwan is a tropical season. This green actually has great potential. And it's the building no longer look like concrete box. Actually, it looks like a big tree. And these are like three small trunks and leaves together with this big tree, big trunk. And this is the way how it works. We can see from different angles, people start to enjoy life in front of their units instead of they have to going down all the way down to the gardens or to the parks, and the different angles you can see. And the way we actually come out very smart way, you have to alter all these angles so that you have better space, to allow the greens to grow, and also you will have a better social engagement with the neighbors. And these are, again, different balcony. They have different way of function. They can be trees, they can be waters, they can have leisure and comfortable seating areas. So you can invite guests come over or invite your neighbors come over. And the next project I like to show is the Sky Green. This is the one I'm working on. I was the chief advisor for this project, and we worked together with the Singapore architects. And this project actually won our FIABCI best practice in 2000. I'm not sure, 19 or 20. We will see that from the video. I have a 1 minute and 30 seconds videos, and you can see this actually. Singapore like the vertical green a lot, but for this project, the difference is actually they have enlarged the patio, the balcony, and two neighbors together actually share one balcony. This is a different challenge for our tradition. But again, as I mentioned about traditional three parts compound. This is the traditional 3 parts compound, and all the way to the vertical parts. So it's very interesting from the dialogue from the traditional to modern way, and how we still remain the social engagement, but at the same time, we try to bring this green concept into here. And close to the later part is more important is how this process can happen. So encourage them, no matter what, to encourage this actually simply just all the way from the certificate, and went through all the process and try to prove that all the vertical green insert. And of course, sometimes without enough issues, then we have feedback fund and maintenance fund into there. So it's a sequence from the legal basis, and without calculating the one I mentioned about to the way, actually to the last way is that livable city could be achieved in Taichung City. And towards that, this green policy so far since 2019, we already have 114 cases and 9 cases already accomplished. This increase almost 4,500 trees and decrease 10,135 tons of carbon emission. And we try to compare, and actually the concept try to compare, this is almost equal to one of like the Central Park idea in New York City, and also about a small neighborhood park around us. So that the concept for this is actually every single building with green policy in the near future, we hope to see embedded one park in our society, in our neighborhood. So look back for this green policy. Actually, what we can do in the future is try to simplify the law and try to embed it more technology way to maintain its maintenance, because trees still need to be maintained. Of course, more accessible design for the elder, children, and disabled people, and of course, more green to our neighbors. For the last conclusion is that we can see vertical green policy reduce the heat island effects, transform the urban landscape of Taichung City, improve the air quality. And the second is that actually livable architecture, improved quality of life, provide leisure spaces for residents and the general public, and enhance sustainability through energy efficient. And more important, every single building after the green policy build better cities, build better lives. Okay. Oops, what happened? Okay. I like to show a short video. 1 minute, about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Singapore architects will have company, they call this is rating architecture. And I think the last PPT is, I think, work together, better cities, better life. We have to be hand in hand, and Taichung, Taiwan, will start to do that, and welcome all of you. If we can share some information and some knowledge to you to improve the world, this is what we can do, and this is what I can do today. Thank you for your listening. Thank you.